and a master's degree in management. He has an extensive experience in advertising, branding, and media management. Currently, he is working as a faculty of management studies at KLE, Dr. M.S. Sheshgiri College of Engineering and Technology, Belgavi. He has conducted several workshops on personality grooming, emerging trends in retail sector, cyber laws, and intellectual property rights. He is a consultant for human resource training for hospitality, industries, and teachers in management domain. So, on behalf of the students and faculty members, I welcome you, sir, for this session.
Thank you. Thank you
And
so much.
I would request you to start your session.
Yes, very nice.
Thank you,
So,
sir. Thank you, sir.
yes, a very good morning to all the respected faculty members, my dear friend Dr. Akshay, and all the students who have actively initiated to join the forum today on a Sunday. So, I wish you all a very happy learning. The next 1.5 hours is going to be a session which will enlighten you on the basics of email writing and telephonic communication. Okay. So to begin with, guys, we all have been trained at some point of time in the 6th or the 7th semester, to have a very good resume, to improve your communication skills and English for a campus interview. But very rarely do we focus on improving our email etiquettes. Most of us who are now doing engineering, or for that matter, even MBA, do not have a professional email ID. I'm 100% sure that of the 66 present here in the group, most of them wouldn't have an email ID on the first hand, or else even if they have one, email is not considered as a mode of communicating very frequently. With the advent of, let's say, a WhatsApp or free calling today, email has lost its importance, but email is an official mode of communication in all corporate offices and in multinational companies. Okay. So to begin with, sir, can we please have the next slide? Yes. Why is an email etiquette important? Because it is going to convey a image about you and your company. It's something like when you guys go in for a campus interview, you are asked to dress well, come in a formal, have a tie, wear formal shoes, and have a folder of documents that, describes you. Likewise, a proper email also describes the image of your company and you as a person who is representing the company. And efficient emails get to the point and are more effective. As we proceed, we'll discuss on this aspect. So can we please have the next slide? Yes, writing an email. Next slide, please. Yes, this is very, very important. Now, guys, whenever we visit a restaurant, at the entrance of the restaurant, you see a darban who is standing there to either do a namaskar or to salute. So we start with a salutation. Now, what do you mean by a salutation? Now, many times we are confused as to how do we address the person to whom we are writing an email. Are we supposed to say a hi, a hello, hey? So these are all the aspects, or dear or respected. So we are not sure as to what salutation should be used. So here I'm presenting before you the 3 scenarios where an appropriate solution will surely help you cater the communication. So for someone with whom you don't know well, or you have a professional relationship and is superior to you, applicable to all the staff members working for Dr. Akshay and the students. Okay. So in case if you're writing a email to, let's say, Dr. Akshay or some HOD of the other department, the appropriate way to address is start with Dear Mr. Akshay or Dear Professor Akshay. Or if you're writing a mail to me, but we don't know each other well, we are meeting each other for the first time, and you're supposed to send me a document. So you can address me as Dear Mr. Amit or Dear Professor Chate. This would be an appropriate way of doing things. The second way of writing a salutation is, if you are writing an email with whom you have a working relation, like for example, if Dr. Akshay is writing a mail to Nikam sir, or Dr. Akshay is writing a mail to Karjini sir, I mean, the example that is specified here, Joey or Mandy, these are all American examples. I mean, India is the only country where, the abbreviation sir is used to address a superior. I mean, do you people know what is the meaning of a sir? Does anyone know? I mean, the forum is open, guys. You can unmute and just tell me. Hello, am I audible?
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Yes.
One student has mentioned in chat box, it is senior. He has mentioned senior. Sir
No.
means senior.
No. Any faculty member who can, I mean, throw light on the meaning of SIR? I mean, this is very commonly used in India. Sir is the abbreviation used to address your seniors. So the meaning of sir, I mean, basically the Britishers started this concept, the meaning of sir is slave I remain. मतलब मैं आपका गुलाम रहूंगा. SIR, slave I remain. Okay. So in most of the European countries or, the other continents, the word sir is used very sparingly. Okay. So they address the higher ups or their bosses as with their first name only. So dear Amit or dear Akshay. I mean, this is how the superiors are addressed, but let's not use it here with respect to an Indian context, because when you're writing an email, the cultural aspect should also be considered. Okay. So with someone whom you have a working relation, if I am writing a mail to Akshay, I would say, dear Akshay, because we are good friends for the past 12 years and we've been together as students in KIT for quite some time. So if I'm writing a mail to Akshay, I would surely say, dear Akshay or dear professor, followed by the last salutation is hi or hello. Now this salutation is to be used with someone, you have a very close relationship or you know the person really well. I can also say hi to Akshay, but if I'm writing a mail to Karjini sir, who is the principal of the institute, I would surely write dear professor or dear Mr. Karjini. This is how I would address the superior. But if with someone you're having a personal relationship and you know well, a hi and a hello is always welcome. So am I clear on this particular slide? Yes. So we'll proceed to the next slide, sir. Be concise and to the point. Now, this is the common problem which most of the faculty fraternity faces. Many a times, I mean, during this lockdown, when the students were asked to send the assignments online, I mean, you can see it on the right side of your screen. I've put a cross mark. Okay. People have at least written something. Most of my students, they just send without a text saying, please find the attachment. This is very, very inappropriate way of doing things. When I say being concise and to the point, I mean, you're supposed to write the reference to context, right? In your school, you must have studied the reference to context. So similarly, when you are drafting a mail followed by a salutation, let's say, dear Akshay, this is with reference to the telephonic conversation we had. Now, before conducting this session, me and Akshay sir spoke over the phone about having a webinar and I agreed. So when the official communication was made to Dr. Akshay, I said, dear Akshay, this is with reference to the telephonic conversation we had on. So date likhna zaruri hai. The date on which we spoke and regarding what? Regarding having a webinar for environmental department students on the topic at so and so date and so time. So giving the context is very, very important. The person at the other end should understand that ये mail क्यों भेजा गया है, उसका संदर्भ लिखना बहुत जरूरी है. Can we go to the next slide? Yes, use of proper spelling, grammar and punctuation. Because of WhatsApp, your smileys, emoticons, our spellings have gone for a toss. Okay. Please has become PLZ. What has become WHT. I mean, unknowingly we end up using all these words and we don't even notice them. Okay. But when you are writing an official email, it is mandatory that your grammar, your spellings, and your punctuations. By punctuations, I mean use of full stops, commas, semicolons, exclamatory marks. These are very, very important. So when you are drafting an email, it's mandatory for everyone to check the grammar, the spelling, and the punctuation. Do not use short forms like PL, Z, WHT. Okay. Next. Can we have the next slide? Yes. Very, very important. The font style that you are adopting while writing an email is also very, very important. Now to the right side of your screen, you guys can see the text is written in capital, for which I have put a cross mark. Now this in an official word or an official form of communication is not acceptable, because using a capital font size says that you are authoritative and dominating. So you are considered as someone who is very arrogant. So do not use capital font letters when you are drafting an email. The standard font size is either Arial or Times New Roman. And Times New Roman font size 12 is considered is globally acceptable in all the journals or in the APA reference format. So please use Times New Roman with a font size of 12 with line spacing 1.5. This is also very, very important, guys. Next. Yes, as we had discussed earlier, take care with abbreviations and emoticons. Now you can see two, divisions in the page. I have asked not to use the smileys, and to the right hand side of your screen, you can see subject F2F meeting request. Now it is very difficult for a person to read what the short form means. You can see the difference on your screen very, very clearly. To the left hand side, it says face-to-face meeting request, and the short form or the abbreviated form of the same sentence is written, which is very difficult to understand. So do not use abbreviations, do not use emoticons, because it is not considered as professional. This is a very unprofessional way of drafting or writing an email. Can we have the next slide? Yes, the most important thing that even the faculty members, or for that matter students, forget: use a meaningful subject. Now here the subject is like the name that is given to you. Now all the individuals present today here on the forum have a name, and that is the reason, that is how people recognize you, right? Now I am known as Amit. Your HOD is known as Dr. Akshay. Likewise, the principal has a surname. So subject, here the subject line is very, very important. Most of us, 99% of us present or who write emails, do not write a proper subject line. They forget to write the subject. So this is very, very important. Whenever you are drafting an email, writing a subject line is important, because it tells the person to whom the email is intended as to what is the email regarding. I have written a few examples. If the teachers are sending the consolidated internal marks for odd semester to the HOD for verification, you can see the first example. Subject is consolidated internal marks for which semester has to be specified: odd semesters, 2015, 3rd, 5th and 7th, right? Now, supposedly, if the HOD has asked me to write a letter for increment, I have got my doctorate and I have to write a letter for increment. Subject line में लिखना जरूरी है draft for approval. That is, this is not the final letter, but I am asking for your approval. So it has to be written in the subject line. Now, number 3, the third example says, if something is really urgent, you have to write it as urgent. Now, supposedly after having a meeting, the HOD of the department says, in the next 1 hour, please send it to me immediately. Then in that case, you are supposed to write it as urgent. if you are writing an email to the HOD or the principal or the deans asking for something and it needs immediate attention, you have to specify that the subject or the matter is really urgent and it needs to be addressed immediately. Because as per standard corporate rules, a person to whom you have sent an email can reply within 24 hours. This is the standard timeline. But if you want a person to answer immediately, then it's mandatory that you write it as urgent. Okay. And the last example I'll take, subject line minutes of the meeting. Now we usually have minutes of the meeting. Now, usually the head of the department or the deans don't draft the minutes of the meeting. It is told to the instructor of the department to write minutes of the meeting, right? So when an instructor is sending the minutes of the meeting to the HOD, they have to specify minutes of the meeting on which date and which time. Because after a month, if you want to find those things, tracing that particular email becomes very, very easy for the person at the other end. So subject line is like, a identification mark through which your emails can be found. A lot of students must also be facing these problems. You tend to attach your project reports, your documents to your email, and then you don't know with what name you have saved it. Yes, am I right? All of you? Yes. Likewise, saving things on the desktop also, when you save any document on your desktop, it's usually saved as a new document. You don't name it properly. And then finding that document becomes very difficult. So having a proper subject line helps you trace your documents in your inbox. Okay. So I hope you'll all follow this. Next. Be careful with styling and formatting. Now, these are some general instructions which I would like you guys to follow when you're writing an email. Use a professional font as discussed, Times New Roman, size 12. Avoid using multiple colors. This is a very unprofessional way of doing things. A standard color is black. Or in case if you want to have a signature, to which I'll come later, it can be blue. So black and blue are the two colors which you can use if required, or else preferably everything in black is advisable. Do not use a red color or a green color because they are very, very flashy and it displays an unprofessional attitude. Okay. Use of formatting like italics and bolds sparingly. Now, when you have something written in italics, it signifies a very, very casual attitude. So do not use italics or bold when you're writing an official letter or an email. Now, these things which we are discussing, this also is applicable when you write an official letter to your higher ups or fellow colleagues. Okay. Next. Can we have the next slide? Yes. Very, very, very important. Use a sensible email signature. Now here, understand, signature is not the signature that you do on the paper or in the bank or on a document. Here by a signature, I mean your name, your designation, your institute, your USN number, your phone number, your email, and your address. Okay. So it's very important to have professional signatures at the end of the email. Like, for example, now whenever I write an email, now in your Gmail settings, you have something called as a signature at the end of every email. So you can activate those settings and keep that signature so that every time you draft a mail and you send it, that signature is attached by default. You also have it in your WhatsApp messages and the regular messages. So here, now when I send the email, what does my signature say? Thanking with regards, Professor Amit Chate. Who am I? An assistant professor. Where? In the department of MBA. Which college? KLE Dr. MS Sheshgiri College of Engineering and Technology. Where is this college? In Belagavi. Where is Belagavi? In Karnataka. Where is Karnataka? In India. Okay. Now, writing your district, your state, and your country along with the PIN code is very, very important. Reason being, when you're writing an official email to someone, let's say who is a foreign client or outside India, they will not know where Kolhapur is. So If you're writing an email, you're supposed to write as Kolhapur, Maharashtra, India, Belagavi, Karnataka, India. Please follow this protocol in every email that you write. Okay. Even in your resumes when you write Kolhapur, Maharashtra, India, ये लिखना जरूरी है, because being in Kolhapur, you will not know the surrounding places which are 20-25 kilometers around your place. Okay. So please make it a point to have a digital signature at the end of every email. Your name, your designation, your department, your institute, your phone number, and an alternate email ID. This is a must. Next. Yes. Do not attach unnecessary files or, because size does matter. Can we have the next slide? I'll just discuss this. Yes. Now, when you are replying to an email, many a times what we do is your HOD, now this is particularly applicable to all the staff members who are present on the group, right? Your HOD tells you to send a document, and then you're not sure as to where is that document. So there is one folder in which you find that document because it has not been saved with a proper name. What do? You say Control All, open, you attach everything and send it. So please avoid this habit of, attaching all or sending all documents together in a bulk, because it can be very, very annoying for the person at the other end to have a bulk attachment from where he has to find. A professional attitude or an approach says that you have to rename your file properly. Okay. Applicable to everyone in the group. Please save the file with a proper name, like a revised document. Now, when I'm saving my PhD thesis, I will write it as final thesis version 1, final thesis version 2, final thesis version 3, so that I know that which is the latest version. Instead of saving it as final thesis, final thesis, final thesis, I'll not know which is the final one. So naming it, numbering it, having a proper name code to every document is very, very important. Now, replying to an email. Now, the most common mistakes that we all do is reply all, right? Now, there are three options in your mail: reply, forward, and reply all. Now, if let's say an HOD writes an email about the discussion that took place in a meeting, and the minutes of the meeting are sent to all the staff members, and one particular staff, he presses the reply all button and sends an email saying, "Thank you, sir." Now, this thank you is sent to all those people who are in the CC, right? So this thank you mail goes to all those people who are in the CC, carbon copy of the email. So please refrain or avoid pressing reply all button, because this is used for mass communication, not for individualized and personal communication. Always stick to only reply button, not reply all. So can we please have the next slide? Yes. Now, these are some standard tips that everyone has to follow. As I said previously, answer swiftly is 24 hours. Swiftly का मतलब होता है 24 घंटा. Now, when you have sent an email to someone, that person can reply in 24 hours. This is considered as a official time in which a person can reply. You cannot expect an immediate reply from anyone. Okay. So 24 hours is a standard time. Answer all questions, preempt further questions. The meaning of this is you are supposed to answer only those questions which have been asked to you. You cannot ask a further question in the same mail. Like, for example, now if the HOD of the department is going to ask the students for a suitable time to conduct a online class. Okay. So the mail would go as follows, saying, "Dear students, what would be an appropriate time for conducting a class on basics of civil engineering?" So let's say, supposedly this is a mail sent to the staff and the students. So you are supposed to just answer saying that, "Dear sir, Sunday 11 a.m. would be a suitable time." That's it. Okay, so you're supposed to answer to the question that has been asked. You cannot ask a further question saying, sir, how about 5 a.m.? Because at 5 a.m. technically everyone will be free. You cannot ask such questions in the replying email. Okay. As I said, do not overuse reply to all because it's an unprofessional way of dealing with things. Refrain from sending one-liners. Yes. Again, our WhatsApp chats and email chats, has, screwed up our habits of writing an entire sentence. So now okay has become only K. आजकल लोग okay भी नहीं लिखते. It's only K. Okay. Thank you. Oh, such things are not supposed to be used. You are supposed to reply in a entire sentence. So refrain is avoid using one-liners. It's a very unprofessional way of dealing with things. Can we have the next slide? Next slide, please. Sir, can we have the next slide? Yes. Sending an email. Now, very, very important for all the students and all the staff members present on the forum. Guidelines for sending an email. Now remember, direct language can sound harsher in emails than in person. Now, yesterday I was discussing this with Akshay sir. Now, I believe most of them come from a Marathi background. Most of you speak Marathi at home. Or let's say Hindi at home. So what do we do? Why do we feel that our English is not good? Because most of the times we tend to translate our mother tongue into English. Like, for example, let's assume that I'm a staff member who wants to ask for a casual leave. So I'm writing an email to the head of the department saying that I want a leave. Now there can be two ways of doing it. So when I say direct language, let's assume that my mother tongue is Marathi. So in Marathi, what would you say? Mala sutti paije. Mala udya sutti paije. So if you translate this in English, it will be, I want a holiday tomorrow, which sounds very, very harsh. It's like you are demanding, you are commanding as if it's your right. No, a very, very wrong way of doing things. So what would be an appropriate way of writing an email? Do not use direct language. The language to be used is respected sir. Okay. Now I am writing an email to the superior or a higher authority. This is to bring to your kind notice that I would be availing a casual leave tomorrow due to some personal work. Request you to please approve my casual leave. Right? This is the right way of drafting an email because through that email, you are requesting someone to approve your leave. Right? So if your HOD says, no, I cannot give you a leave, you cannot avail it. So do not use direct language. You cannot write an email saying, I want a holiday tomorrow. Mala udya sutti paije. This is not going to work. So the language of drafting has to be humble and with humility. Use proper written, not spoken English. That is what we discussed now. Be thoughtful and respectful in what you write. Always remember, when you're writing an email or writing a letter to anyone, you always make a request or you always be humble when you're drafting. Okay. So that humility and that respect has to be seen through the words that you write. So do not make demands. You cannot demand anything on an email. It's a very unprofessional way of dealing with things. Okay. So let's say that in the department, you want a computer, you want new computers. Okay. So as a teacher, I cannot write an email to my HOD saying my computer has, is not working properly. Give me a new computer. I cannot say that. I can say, respected sir, request you to kindly consider. So आपके writing में वो humility और वो दया और वो request दिखना बहुत जरूरी है. Choose your words very, very carefully. Very, very carefully. Assume everything you write is a public document. Please remember, guys, whenever you are sending an email or writing something, it can be used as a proof against you. So when you are writing an email or writing a letter, you have to be very, very diplomatically right. Okay. So use of words, use of language has to be precise, humble, genuine, and neutral. The last second tip is avoid talking about other people in an email. ईमेल पे चुगली नहीं करना है, गॉसिप नहीं करना है. People should understand this, that anything that you write in an email and send to anyone is a documented proof which you are producing. So do not gossip or chat about other people or third person. Use proper grammar and sentence structure. Spell check your message. Understand one thing, guys. After you draft a letter or an email, before sending your email, now many times you say kindly find attached, and you don't attach a document. So before sending an email, please spend 2 minutes to read what you have written. See that if there is an attachment, it is attached properly. That attachment should be saved with a proper name. It cannot be a new document word, which most of us do. So your document has to be named properly. Your attachment has to be proper. And before sending the email to the concerned person, please read your entire email. Okay. Can we have the next slide, sir? If your message includes a request, always close with a thank you to the recipient for considering it. We discussed about request, humility, being humble. Okay. All this should be seen through the language that you are using. Do not expect or demand an immediate response. As I said, you cannot expect the person to reply immediately in the next 15 minutes, 20 minutes, or the 1 hour. 24 hours is considered as a standard format for replying. Reread your message before sending it and rephrase if necessary. Understand one thing, guys. I mean, wherever possible, try to shorten your sentences. Do not use long sentences, because many a times people might misinterpret or misread that. Okay. Next. Yes. So that basically ends the tips or inputs regarding writing an email or a letter. So please understand that good email etiquette costs nothing and is worth a lot. Okay, because this reflects the image of you as a person, the image of your company as a person, the image of your boss as an individual. Okay, and the kind of culture that exists in your organization and your department. Thank you. Thank you so much. We can have any questions now.
So, yes, shall we take some questions?
Yes, sure.
Okay, so one question asked by Mr. Aniket Shende. So he's asking, what can we do if we want to highlight an important point in the email?
No. Now, is Aniket online? Can I speak with him?
Yes, he's there. Aniket, you can unmute yourself and you can ask a question.
Yes, sir. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Aniket. Yes. Now, Aniket, now it depends. Now, it depends if you've had an initial conversation with the person before, or is it the first time you're writing an email?
Sir, consider if it will be a first time we are writing the email, then what are we supposed to do?
Okay, if you're writing the email for the first time.
So just a minute. Yes. Guys, we are having one more presentation here after this telephone etiquettes. So do not leave this meeting. Okay, sir, continue, please.
Yes, Aniket. Now, if it depends on the kind of subject that you are referring to. Like, for example, let's assume that you are writing an email to someone for a job application or a job interview. Now here, if you want to highlight something, like I'll tell you, now let's assume that the HOD of your department, Akshay sir, gives you a reference. Okay. You're a civil engineer.
Yes, environmental engineering.
Environmental engineering. Okay. Now what companies come to recruit you? The best environmental company that comes in for a campus recruitment? Okay.
I don't know, sir.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, let's say you are writing an email to the HR of TCS, Tata Consultancy Services. Okay, and Akshay sir has given his reference, and he has said you can write my reference. So now the most important thing in your email is Dr. Akshay Thorwat's reference, right? Now here you can use the subject line to highlight your important or the key point. So in the subject line, you can write reference Dr. Akshay Thorwat and then application for a software engineer's job. Got it? So
Yeah,
you
yeah.
can use the subject line to highlight whatever you want to say. And it has to
Okay,
be
sir.
only one line. And I said
Okay.
use of italics and bold sparingly is only when required, not throughout your text. Okay. So only
Yes.
when required, those one or two words which you want to highlight, you can use a bold font. But the most important thing when you're writing an official email is your subject line. Because
Okay, sir.
subject, you understand Marathi?
Yes, sir.
येस. तुझी सब्जेक्ट लाईन बघून लोक ठरवतात की तुझा मेल वाचायचा आहे की नाही वाचायचा आहे.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so you can use the subject line to highlight the importance of your email and highlight the key point.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yes. Any other question do we have?
Yes. Sujay, you can ask your question.
Yes, sir. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Sujit.
Sir, basically, my question is
Good
regarding, when someone in the sales or the marketing department has already approached some brand for a deal, and when we have to take frequent follow-ups from that person. So, what kind of language and what kind of tips would you give for such a kind of an email, without being too persuasive or too disturbing for the person on the other side? If you could share some on it.
I understood. Okay. Now, that's a very good question. Now, many a times what happens when you're into the sales department, following up your sales calls becomes very, very important. Okay. And many a times, frequently calling or frequently sending an email reminding the client about, let's say a payment due or a delivery of something can be very, very annoying, or he might take it very, very personally. Okay?
Right, sir.
Yes, I understood your question very well. Okay. So now here what happens, being humble and courteous is the only way in which you can persuade a client. Now I'll tell you my own example. Now, when I was doing my engineering, I actually failed. Okay. Ek year dropout hai mera. So at that point of time, I worked in a call center. Okay. Just to tell you how it works. So when I was working for a call center and I was on the recovery process of finances, where I was required to give calls to people to recover the debit card debts. Okay, so here when we used to call people, they used to abuse us. They used to give us a lot of bad words, saying that you people keep calling us frequently, and these people were all Americans. I was working on an American process. So what were we told, that we are not supposed to abuse them back. We are supposed to say, sir, this is a professional call and this does not suit your personality. So once, twice, thrice, तिसऱ्यांदा जरी शिवी घातली तर you could cut the call. You are not supposed to even hang the phone on the client. Likewise, in an email, when you are writing an email to the client to follow up regarding sales processes, please understand that you send a gentle reminder. Okay. You cannot say reminder 1, reminder 2, reminder 3. No, a gentle reminder. Okay. Respected sir, this is to bring to your kind notice that, this is in a subject line, you can say a gentle reminder regarding the follow-up of completion of sales process. So जहाँ पे भी आपका एक gentle reminder आ जाता है ना, वो humility और that courtesy can be seen. Instead of writing only a reminder, sending a reminder to someone can be very, very annoying. It's like, ये मुझे याद दिला रहा है.
Right.
But if you write a gentle reminder, तुमच्या माहितीसाठी, what we say in Marathi, तुमच्या माहितीसाठी.
Right.
Yes. So this is to bring to your kind notice that, your sales payment is due for this month end and the date is nearing. Request you to kindly complete the process,
Right.
for
Right.
closing the sales call. I would be grateful to you if you could complete the sales process in the next 1 week.
Hmm.
So your language becomes very, very important, Sujay.
Right, sir.
This might be your second, third, fourth, or fifth reminder email to that person, but you cannot be aggressive even in your 10th email.
Right.
You cannot say this is to tell you that your sales process is incomplete, and if you don't do it, then ऐसे नहीं बोल सकते. Every time you have to send a gentle reminder 10. समझ गए ना?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So
Got
the
it.
courtesy that you display in your first reminder and the courtesy that you display in your 10th reminder, that humility and that courtesy should always be there.
Right, sir. Right.
Yes, even after your 10th email, if the person does not respond, you can use it as a documented proof to take a legal action on that person, because I said anything that you write becomes a legal document.
Right, sir.
So you can always approach the court and say 10 reminders have been sent to him in a very good way, and now it's time for a legal action.
Hmm.
So
Okay, sir.
humility and courtesy should reflect in your language and drafting.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you,
Any
sir.
more questions?
Yes, Pooja, whatever the question you have asked. So in next session, sir is going to address this telephonic conversation and guidelines regarding that, the code of conduct. So we will take that question afterwards. Tanuja, you can ask your question. Sir, there is one question from Ms. Tanuja Sushindra. So she is asking, while closing any deal or discussion, please share some key points for closing statements or closing discussion on an email.
Badhiya.
Hello?
Very nice. Okay. Now, yes, Tanuja, I understood
Yes,
your
sorry,
question.
sir. I had some network problem.
No worries, no worries.
Yes, sir.
Now while closing a successful sales call, number one, now since the client has agreed and he has become your customer, you have to first thank him for considering your company to do business. Okay, so that courtesy should reflect
Okay.
in your email, wherein you say, thank you for considering our organization to do business. Okay, so you first thank him,
Okay.
you first greet him. Okay,
Okay.
and then you always close the call saying that looking forward for a mutual beneficial working relationship in future. समझ गए ना? So whenever
Yes, sir.
you are writing a email to a client and thanking him for the business that the client has done with you, reflect to your email that humility, that you are grateful to the client for doing business. So you thank them by saying, thank you for considering us, or thank you for considering us in your evoked set to do business. ओके, उसको वो विश्वास दिलाना जरूरी है कि आपने जो डिसीजन लिया है वो बिल्कुल सही डिसीजन लिया है, and in future we both will work together for mutually beneficial business relations. Okay?
Okay.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Have I answered your query properly?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Badhiya. Yes.
So one more question is there from Ms. Pooja. Sir, how do
Yes.
we address or write salutation to official mail address where we don't have a clue about who is going to read it? Very good question.
Then in that case, very good question, you can use dear sir or madam. Very simple. Or respected sir, madam. This can come into play. Now, when you don't know to whom you are writing, it can be dear sir / madam. Very simple
Yes.
and plain.
Yes. Even we are
case-
also facing the
in
same
case-
issue.
Yes. Now see, many a times, Pooja, what happens, when our MBA students go for projects, right? We don't know who the HR is. वो male है कि female है नहीं पता होता है. So sir, madam लिखना would be a safe mode. But in case, if you know the name of the person, it is always advisable to use the name, because people like being called by their names. Okay. Now I usually do this with my students. Now, many a times the students wish the teachers as, good morning, sir. On the way when you're, going towards your classrooms or in the corridors, when a sir says, good morning, Sujay, or, good morning, Pooja, that the student always feels nice that the sir knows my name. है ना? So wherever you know the name of the person, please ensure that you use the name. In case if you don't know who the person is, dear sir, madam, or respected sir, madam would be the safest mode to use the salutation.
Thank you, sir.
Yes. Yes. Any more questions on email etiquettes, or should we proceed to telephone etiquettes?
Professor Amit, this is Ajit Saudi. Not sure whether I'm people can hear me.
Yes, sir.
Because,
Welcome, sir.
You are very
I have-
much welcome, sir.
yeah, I have some issues with my mobile signal. Dear Amit, it's really a very interesting topic, and I think you have covered most of the issues really very nicely. So
Thank
I
you, sir.
must appreciate your sort of tips.
Uh-huh.
After sort of working for almost 30 years in professional life, I
Uh-huh.
would like to add few more tips. It is
Sure.
just to sort of boost up your tips with my professional experience.
Uh-huh.
One thing is that for last many years we have stopped considering emails as correspondence or way of communication
Okay.
because the main issue is we are unable to write good emails. So the
Uh-huh.
basic thing remains the thing which is your topic today, that write a nice and good email which solves the problem, but we have stopped considering emails as a way of communication. We treat
Okay.
that as a half communication, and half
Uh-huh.
communication is always a problem. So
Uh-huh.
we always suggest people that write an email, because something has to be on record and something can go to many people at one time. But do
Exactly.
not depend on emails.
Yes.
For any important communication that you want, you follow up with a telephone call with a concerned person that he has
Right.
understood your email and understood what you want to say. Because
Exactly.
none of us have, none of us write a complete, or none of us can express 100% what we want to say. Saying is
Mhm.
much easier than writing, but writing
Very
is
much.
also essential. So
Mhm.
uh, always treat email as a half communication, and for any important communication, follow that up with a simple phone call to that person, whether he has understood the things the way you want it.
Yes,
That
sir.
that,
Mhm.
that makes your life much simpler.
Yes.
Second
Yes,
tip
sir.
is that second tip is that when you are drafting an email, email should have three sections in it. So you imagine, I get almost around 500 emails in a day. So
Mhm.
I don't have time to go through 500 emails in a day. So your tip about the subject line is very important, because
Yes.
I pick emails from or I prioritize emails from sender, who has sent it, and what the subject line is.
Yes.
But when I open the email, if it is a very long email, then I
Right.
can read only first one or two lines, and then I make a mind whether I want to read it further or not.
Right.
So it is
Mhm.
very important when you're writing an email. Email
Mhm.
should be divided into three sections. One is your opening section, where you have to just highlight in one or two lines, not more than one or two lines, what you want to say, so that the reader knows what this email is all about.
Yes.
Then your
Justified.
comes
Mm.
in the second part, and then what action you require comes in the concluding last part. And
Mhm.
remember, first and last section should not
Mhm.
be in one or two lines. So person can go in the first line, see what this all about, and last line where the action or conclusion. Generally
Mhm.
requesting and everything, but still some action is required from your end. So if you sort of draft this email in three parts, it becomes much easier for the reader to take a decision and respond to that. If you are writing long emails, like half a page email,
Right.
then reader
Mhm.
gets put off. So
Right.
again, you have to imagine that nowadays, with the emails being so common, you
Yes.
also must be getting lots and lots of emails.
Yes.
So think about the person who is reading that email. You are only sending one email, but there will be so many people sending email to that particular person. So
Yes. Justified. Yes. Mm.
yeah, you have to consider the reader's position and put yourself into that reader's position, and see whether my email reads correctly.
Yes, yes.
Another important rule which you also mentioned is do not put gossips or complaints in an email, which is
Yes.
absolutely right. That because email remains there forever, it
Mhm.
can be used out of context. And general rule about is that if you are writing any person's name in an email, then he should be copied.
Yes,
Uh,
yes.
So if you use this rule that if I'm writing, say, Amit, if I'm writing to, say, my friend Ravi Nikam, Professor Ravi Nikam, and writing something about Amit, hmm, then it's a rule
Mhm.
that Amit should be in the CC. And
Yes,
you will
yes,
see that automatically you will stop complaining and stop gossiping about it because he is
yes,
marked in that.
yes,
So
yes,
that's another rule. So these
yes.
are again like I don't want to really go on because this is a
Uh,
very interesting topic and I'm really fed up of getting very bad emails. So I have been sort of conducting these kind of sessions in my offices.
right.
So Amit, Professor Amit, I really appreciate that you took on.
Yes, yes.
Only thing I differ from you is probably your understanding of meaning, sir. I understand that people say a lot about the definition of sir, but
Mm-hmm.
like I've spent like almost 10 years in the UK, and even in UK, Europe, US, where there was no colonial rule, still
Mm-hmm.
it is very, very common to respectfully address people as sir.
Right, right.
So yeah, probably it's a kind of on a lighter term. We always say that some
Yes, yes,
acronyms
yes,
are
yes,
sort of expanded in a
yes,
lighter term, but
yes,
sir is definitely used as a respectful term,
yes,
even in the
yes.
developed countries where there was no colonial rules.
Right, right.
So I
Absolutely
really
right. Yeah.
appreciate Professor Amit that you have taken this initiative. I
Yes,
really like the way you presented.
yes. Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much.
Uh, Mr. Amit,
Yes.
I want to tell you that Mr. Ajit Saudi sir, he is the 1988 pass out from KIT's College of Engineering from Environmental Department, and
Lovely.
he is our distinguished alumni, and he is working as the joint vice president in STUP consultant
Very nice.
at Mumbai and Delhi. So,
Very
sir,
nice.
thank you very much, sir, for joining this session. And as you said that in next part we are going to cover this telephone etiquettes also. That part we are also
Yeah,
going to
sure.
cover.
Yeah, I'll
And
be in the call. I'll just go on mute only. Great.
yeah, yes, sir,
Continue.
yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you for joining.
Yes. Thank you so much, Ajit, sir.
Yes, Mr. Amit, we can continue with the next session.
Yes. We can have the next slide, Dr. Akshay.
Yes, it is. It is there. Can you see the slide?
Yes. Can we have the next slide, sir?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Now, as Ajit sir rightly said, writing an email and following it up with, a telephone call is very, very important in today's era, in today's quick and the fast-paced life that we all live in. Now, there are some basic etiquettes that we all need to follow as professionals or would be professionals in days to come. Now, we expect usually our students, after completing the graduation and once they get into companies, these are some basic etiquettes which not only the students but all working professionals should follow. These were taught to us in the call center that I worked with. Now, when do you basically practice a telephone etiquette? While answering a call, or while making a call, or while handling business matters over the telephone, right? Can we have the next slide? Yes. Basic rule of a telephone etiquette says that treat the caller in the manner you would like to be treated if you were placing the call. Okay. Now, many times we receive a lot of promotional calls, asking for a debit card or a credit card or going in for an insurance or a home loan, right? So most of the times we get annoyed because these are promotional and advertising calls which are not intended for you, and you end up hanging the call saying, please don't call me, take me off your list. This is not the right time to call me, or call me back after some time. Okay. So please understand one thing, guys. Whenever you make a call, whoever the person at the other end is, it might be a peon working for a department, it might be your professors, it can be your higher ups, the HODs, it can be the deans, or it can be the principal. treat everyone with the same intensity of respect that you expect others to give you. Okay, so as I said, while writing an email, you have to be humble, and that courtesy has to be seen through your language. Likewise, when you are speaking over the phone, that courtesy has to reflect through your language when you are speaking now. Okay, now usually I tell this to most of my students, or places where I go in for a training. If you call your teacher many times, okay, most of the teachers today present on the forum must have experienced this, where students call you at a very, very wrong time. You might either be in a meeting, or let's say during your off working hours, let's say from 10 to 5, it is your working hours. After 5 o'clock, when you're not in your office and when you're at home, a student gives you a call to inquire about an assignment or an issue that he or she is facing. Please remember, guys, remember to wish your teacher first, followed by please ask them whether it is the right time to speak with them. Okay, your teacher might be engaged in some, with his family. So you cannot bother a person at an odd time. You can expect him to solve your issues and address you. But please remember, whenever you say hello, wish the person at the other end, please ask, is it the right time to speak now? I would just take 2 minutes of your valuable time. Okay, so be very, very courteous while addressing or attending a call. Can we have the next slide? Yes, as I said, use basic good manners and treat callers with respect. Under treat callers with respect, there's something written as recognize the caller and be an active listener. This is very, very important, most important. Now, when I say recognize the caller, okay, now whenever you give a call to an organization or department, now you don't know who the person at the other end is. So please make a point to first introduce yourself, saying, I'm Professor Amit from so and so. Can I speak with Dr. Akshay? So if Dr. Akshay is on the line, he'll say, this is Dr. Akshay. Yes, tell me, how can I help you? I mean, this is how it has to go. So the most important thing is you first recognize the caller and be an active listener. Now, whenever the person at the other end is speaking, please make a point to listen to the entire conversation. Do not interrupt and add your points in between. Okay. Now, when Ajit sir was speaking, we all were, acknowledging the fact that he is trying to add something to the body of knowledge during the session. So as a listener, it is important for me to acknowledge the fact and say, if you were hearing it properly, I was saying, yes, sir. Yes, I agree. Justified. Right. Absolutely right, sir. So this basically gives a impression to the person at the other end that you are being listened carefully, you are being acknowledged, and you are being appreciated. Many a times it so happens that when you're on the phone and you go on speaking continuously and the person at the other end does not respond, there is a blank deadline at the other end, then you say, are you there? Am I audible? I mean, this is what people end up saying. So when you are listening, or when you are in an official call and you are listening or noting down, please acknowledge and use fillers like, okay, fine, yes. So this gives the person, or this gives an impression to the person at the other end that you are being listened and acknowledged carefully. Okay, next. So can we have the next slide? So answer the telephone if possible immediately after the first ring, but definitely not later than immediately after the third ring. Now when we used to work for a call center in Pune and I used to work on an American process, the standard protocol of receiving the call, phone uchlaयची वेळ, that is 3 rings. Okay, before the phone rings 3 times, you are expected to receive it in a business forum. Now this might not always be practically possible, but in any business organization, it is expected that the phone should be picked before it rings for the more than 3 times. Use proper identification when placing or receiving a call. As I said, when you call or when you give a call to an organization, first introduce yourself saying, I'm Professor Amit from KLE Engineering College. Can I speak with Dr. Akshay? This is how you open a phone call. This is called as opening the call. Okay. Give caller your complete attention. As I said, acknowledging, saying okay, yes, justified, use of such fillers always gives an impression to the person at the other end that you are being listened and attended properly. Next slide. So can we have the next slide? Akshay sir, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Can we? Yes. Okay. The fourth tip while speaking on the phone, that is keep your mouth free from a chewing gum or a food when you're talking on the phone, because it shows disrespect. Eating a pan or a supari or a chewing gum or having food or drinking water when you are on a telephonic conversation is not considered as a good manner or a good behavior. Speak clearly and in a positive tone of voice to avoid any sense of interruption by the caller. Now, many a times, guys, this is the most important tip that I would like to give to the people present in the forum today. Now, many a times numbers are shared, names are shared over the phone. So please remember, when you are dictating a phone number to someone, usually, hello, am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You're audible.
Yes. Now, usually when you are dictating a phone number to the person at the other end, our phone numbers are 10 numbered. I mean, they're 10 in number, those numbers, right? So when you're dictating, the standard format or the protocol says you dictate the first 4 numbers, then 3 and then 3. Okay. So my number is, let's say, 98455702446. So how do I spell it? If I'm telling my number to you people today on the phone, I would say 9845507 246. So if you could listen, I broke down that those 10 numbers into 4-3-3 combination. This is the right way of dictating a phone number. And when you are telling someone's name or discussing someone's name, for example, if you're telling Mr. Chate, so a lot of people on the phone might hear it as Sathe. So this would again be wrong. So when you are dictating a name on the phone, how do you spell out Chate? It's C as in cat, H as in hat, A as in apple, T as in tap, E as in elephant. So the spelling goes as follows: C-H-A-T-E, Chate. So when you're dictating, please ensure that the person at the other end has understood or noted down the right number and the right name. Screen calls tactfully and be helpful and follow through. Now, what do you mean by screening of calls? Screening of calls is, it is very, very important for you to prioritize the calls. Now, most of the organizations have a caller ID. Okay. So based on the caller ID or the extension numbers, you know who is calling. So it is very, very important for a person, if you are on the phone or attending the phone calls, to screen the calls tactfully is in terms of importance. If you get 2 phone calls randomly at the same time, you should know which call to attend first and prioritize. Many times you say, can you please hold on the phone? I have an important call coming. So if that call is really important, you have to keep this person on the hold and attend the most important call, because it might be very, very important call from a business perspective or a business deal. So that is what is meant by screening calls tactfully. कुणाला किती महत्व द्यायचं फोनवर हे तुम्ही ठरवलं पाहिजे. That is what it means in short. Can we have the next slide, sir? Yes. Ending the telephone calls with a pleasant preliminary close. That is, say thank you. I'm glad you called. When I say ending the call, it is ending the telephonic conversation. Always use these words. Thank you. I'm glad you called. You are welcome. Words like, thank you for your time and patience. If you have called a person to ask for something or some information, it is always considered as a good manner when you acknowledge the person at the other end for the time that he has given you. So at the place where we used to work in a call center, the standard closing line was, thank you for your time and patience, have a good day or have a good evening. Okay, this is how you end a call. Say goodbye to end the conversation and avoid bye bye and see you later. These are considered as very unprofessional ways of ending calls. So do not say bye bye or see you later. Say a goodbye, thank you, I'm glad you called, and you're welcome. Okay, and always remember, let the caller hang up first. That is, ज्यांनी तुम्हाला कॉल केले त्यांनी पहिला फोन ठेवला पाहिजे, तुम्ही नाही. Hanging on someone is considered as arrogant, okay, in a telephonic conversation. So let the person at the other end, now we are talking all these aspects from a business perspective, guys, okay? So let your client hang the phone first and then you hang the phone. Can we have the next slide? Being courteous again, consideration of others. Now guys, remember, as I said earlier, whenever you call someone, it is very, very important for you to first ask them, is it the right person and is it the right time to speak? Okay, as I said, the person might be busy in a meeting or something very, very important. So asking for their time is the most important thing. And one way we learn about courtesy is through first-hand experience with someone who is not courteous. Okay, you must have experienced a lot of people speaking on the phone, or these days we even don't say a hello. You know, we end up saying "ha bol rahe." I mean, that is not the right way. That is not the right way to deal with things. Now, most of the times when I get phones, I mean official phone calls, I say, this is Professor Amit, how may I help you? This is how I open the call. That is called as opening the call. Okay. Treat every caller as important call and every caller as an important customer. Being courteous all the times is not easy in a business office. However, it is always a necessity. Now, please understand, guys, you might be the person who has got a call and you might not be in a good mood. You must have had a fight with your wife at home, a fight with your boss in the meeting, or a fight with a fellow colleague or a teammate. So might be at that moment of time when you have received a business call, you might not be in a good mood. But please understand, you cannot reflect this bad mood on your customer or a client, because every client is precious and important to a company. So when you are representing a business organization, it is always important that your smile and your happiness is reflected in your voice, irrespective of the circumstances and the moods that you are into. Okay, next. Can we have the next slide, sir? Be helpful. Show your spirit of helpfulness by your words, expressions, and actions. Now, many a times when you receive phone calls, now this is the admission season. Just to specify an example, now we get many phone calls throughout the day of students who would like to seek admissions for an MBA program or an engineering program. We are basically a part of an engineering institute. So many a times in our MBA department, we get phone calls for engineering inquiry. So I cannot say this is the MBA department, I cannot help you, right? So we would like to, we ask the name of the candidate. We ask the name of the candidate. We ask them, how can I help you? We put them across the right department. We tell them this is the department of MBA, Mr. XYZ. I'll put you across, so and so Mr. or Miss who happens to be the HOD of ENC department or the civil department. So be helpful. Do not cut because it does not belong to you. Always show that expression of, someone who is willing to help the person at the other end. Avoid slang expressions used in a casual way. Something like see ya, bye, okay, catch ya later. These words should not be used on the phone. Now, even though you have answered the same question many times before, avoid showing any signs of irritation. Now, many a times your client might end up asking the same questions repeatedly over and over again. Do not get angry or do not get disturbed. You please remember that customer is the king and the customer is the god. So even if the client or the customer is going to ask you 100 times the same question, you are expected to report or address it with the same courtesy and humility. Next. Can we have the next slide, sir? Yeah, we can go to the next slide, sir, because we are running short of time. Next slide. These things we have discussed. Next. Yes. Yeah. This is the most important thing. People like the sound of their own names. As I said in the email, right? Now, I think Sujay Hammannavar asked me a question and Pooja asked me a question. If you noticed, I ensure that I say good morning Sujay or good morning Pooja, right? So whenever I take the name of the person on the phone, the person at the other end always feels nice. Like for example, if Akshay gives me a call, might be it's not an official call, but it's a casual call. I cannot say, "Ha, sang re." I'll always say, "Ha, Akshay, sang, kasa hai?" Right? So the person at the other end calls you, and it is Mr. Abhijit, you can always say, "Good morning, Mr. Abhijit. How are you?" So these expressions always, add a lot of value and gives that personal touch or attention to the client at the other end. The first time you hear the caller's name, write it down. Okay, please. This is the most important tip, guys. Whenever you are on a business call, always remember you should have a pen and a notepad besides you to make notes of the things which you feel are important during a conversation. During a conversation, a client might give out a particular transaction deal amount, an transaction ID, a challan number. There can be so many things that he might dictate while you're on the phone. Always ensure that you have a notepad and a pen in your hand to make a note of important things that are discussed over the phone. Okay, you cannot say काहीतरी सांगितलं होतं आणि मी विसरलो. This happens with most of us. And if you are in a doubt, when you're going on a telephone, always clarify. You might have overheard something on the phone, or the signal might not be proper. So if the client at the other end is telling you some important number or a name, you say, "Yes, Mr. Abhijit, I'll just repeat the number for you," and you verify it again to ensure the correctness of the information that you have received. We can have the next slide, sir. As I said, be an active listener. It is very important that you don't interrupt the speaker at the other end. We have discussed this earlier. Next. This is the last slide probably. Yes. Manners reflect your identity. Always ask if you can put the caller on the hold, guys. Now, many times in the business organization, when people call you, you might not be the right person to speak on that particular topic, and you are required to transfer the phone to someone. Okay. So always ask, "Sir, is it okay if I put you on a hold for the next 2 minutes till I transfer the phone?" Please ask the person, be courteous. So ask the caller that can he or she be put on a hold while they are being transferred. While on a business call, always have a notepad and a pen, as I discussed earlier. When a call is placed, always ask whether it is the right time to speak. We have discussed this also. And in case the other party is busy, ask for a suitable time to call. Now, when I said you give a call and the person says, "I'm busy right now," always ask, "What would be the right time to call you, sir?" Okay. What would be an appropriate time? What would be a suitable time to call back? So, and always remember, when a time is given, you call at that specified point of time. If the person says you call me at 5 o'clock, ensure that you call the person at 5 o'clock. Do not call at 5:15 and say मैं traffic में था, because it sends a very, very bad or a wrong signal. And if you're unable to make a call, please drop a message that, "Sir, is it okay if I call you in the next 15 minutes as I'm held up with something really important?" Okay. So these are some basic telephonic, tips which you as professionals in days to come have to follow. Okay. I hope this session was good and a lot of information has been added to your knowledge base, which will surely make you good professionals in days to come. We can take 1 or 2 questions, sir, if we have time.
Yes, sir. There is one announcement in chat box. I have posted feedback link, so you can fill up that feedback link. You will get printable certificate on your email ID, registered email ID. I also would like to welcome Mr. Ashok Garlapati sir from Kuwait. He has also joined this session. Welcome, sir, and thank you for joining. Now, is there any question? Because we are having only 3 to 4 minutes left.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon,
Hello,
sir. Ashok sir, good afternoon.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. It's very nice session and need of the hour for our community. Thank you for hosting this session. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Dishita, you can ask your question. Dishita Patil.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
So, like, if someone from the other end is telling you something and there's a connection error or you have not understood what you have said, so what's the right way to communicate? Like, should I say sorry? Can you repeat, or should I say can I beg a pardon? So, what's the correct sentence or quote can be used?
Can you please repeat
Hello?
the question, Dishita? Yes. Dishita,
Yes, sir. Good afternoon.
good afternoon. Yes.
So, like, if you have not heard something clearly from the other end, so
Uh-huh.
what's the correct sentence you use to ask the person repeat what he or she has said? Like, if you say sorry, can you repeat, or you say I beg your pardon? Can you please repeat? Or both of them are appropriate.
Yeah, you can always say, sir, if you don't mind, please can you repeat it for me once again? It would be a very appropriate way, or I beg your pardon would also be right.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Sir, I have
Aniket?
an
Yes, Sujay.
So basically, when I mean, all of the members are just our classmates and juniors, so I would be comfortable asking it here. So I have just got onto a new sales job recently. So I wanted to ask you, like, I have to do a lot of calls in the whole day, and most of these calls are to like uh, you know president, director level people in organizations.
Okay.
And a lot of times it happens that I somehow miss the call, or the person on the other hand does not receive it, or maybe cuts it because he or she is into some meeting. And
Okay.
then I get a call back from that person in say an hour or 2 hours or 3 hours after I had called.
Mm-hmm.
And it is very difficult to maintain record or maintain track of whom I have called in the morning, and that same person is calling me back in the evening. And then I suddenly, there is this this hesitation when I'm talking, that
Got it.
because I don't know who I'm talking to. And then I don't want to, and then I don't want it to be disrespectful to that person, because this can turn out to be an important deal for the company.
Right.
So how to deal with such situations, or how to keep record, and how how to keep, or how to deal, since you already worked in the call
Yes.
center, so you can, yeah.
Yes. Now, Sujay, now if that person is your client, might be, you are expected to either save his number.
Okay.
Now, might be you have the number of that person saved on your phone. Let's say it's Mr. Subhash or Mr. Abhijit or Mr. whoever it is, Mr. Akshay. Okay. You have called that person, Mr. XYZ, in the morning, and he has not received your call, and he reverts back in the next 2 hours. And let's say if that number is saved in your phone, well and good, you will recognize who that person is. But if it is
Yes,
not,
but if it's
yes,
not
if it is-
saved, then there's the issue that comes.
if it is not saved in your number, I mean in your phone book, then you can always say, yes, this is Sujay. May I know who's speaking? You can
Okay.
always say that. I'm sorry, may I know who's speaking? So you are already
Okay.
saying you're sorry because you have failed to recognize the speaker.
Right.
So you can always say, yes, this is Sujay. I'm sorry, may I know who's speaking?
Right. Okay.
So you have already initiated by saying a sorry because you have failed to recognize the speaker. In that case, when you say sorry, he'll surely say, I am Abhijit from ABC Limited. I had received a call from this number in the morning.
Right.
That is when you recognize, I had given him a call at 11 o'clock and he did not receive the call. And you can always say, sir, thank you so much for reverting back. I mean, sir, this is a call regarding, you can start.
Okay.
You can-
Got it.
you can- you could always thank that person for reverting back because he has valued your call and given you a call back.
Yes.
You know? So initially say, I'm sorry, may I know who's speaking? And once they tell, oh sir, thank you so much for calling back.
Okay, okay, sir.
This,
Thank
this
you.
will make your conversation very professional and classy.
Right, right, sir.
Yes. Sir, any more questions? Or are we running out of time? Akshay sir? Akshay sir, any more questions?
Hello.
No, sir. Hello. Aniket.
Sir, I just wanted to ask that is it considered inappropriate not texting the person before calling? Like if we are doing a professional call, and is it necessary for us to text the person that, sir, I am going to call you at this time? Is it are you available, or can we directly call the person and ask him if it's the appropriate time to call?
Yes. Now, Aniket, a very good question. See, if you're calling the person for the first time, it is always appropriate to call him directly. Okay. But if you have spoken with the person once, twice, or thrice in the beginning regarding a business process, right? And the person knows you, that so and so person from so and so organization, is communicating with him or her over a deal, you can always send a text. Okay. Based on the first 2 or 3 conversations, you'll come to know, at what hierarchical level that person is. Like Sujay said, if he's the director of a company or the vice president of the company, and you are required to make a call.
Yeah.
For the first time, you can always call, but
Okay.
let's say if he cuts the call and then he calls back, right?
Yeah.
So from the next conversation onwards, you can always say, I am Aniket from company ABC, sir. What would be an appropriate time to speak? This is regarding the sales of. Uska topic bhi dal do aap, right?
Okay.
So the person at the other end would know who is giving a call and why is he giving a call.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so if you are talking with the speaker, I mean the person for the first time, it is appropriate to give a call directly without sending a message.
Okay, sir. Okay.
For the second or the third time, based on the hierarchical level at which the person is, it is appropriate to always send a message and then ask for a suitable time to call.
Okay, sir.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Akshay sir, how much time do we have?
Yes. Sir, now there is no any question. We can close the session. So, thank you very much, Mr. Amit, for such a nice and informative session. Because right now these points are very important. We try to organize some technical workshops or technical webinars, but along with that, such kind of topics are also important.
Yes.
And thank you for highlighting all the important points in your presentation. And definitely our faculty members, students will get benefited from this particular presentation. So thank you very much, sir.
Yes.
And we hope same kind of cooperation in future also, and we will try to organize some other sessions on some other topics which will help our students to develop their professional skills and professional
Surely.
communication.
Yes, once this COVID thing is over, I would like to surely visit the department, interact with the students, and contribute the best I can to ensure that in terms of placements or professionalism, your students are the best.
Yes, sir. Yes,
We'll
sir.
surely do that one day.
Definitely, sir.
Yeah,
Definitely.
was
Thank
nice.
you very much, sir. Thank
Yes, it was nice interacting with all the students and the teachers. Yeah, thank you for taking your time off on a Sunday. Have a good future and a good career ahead. Bye bye. Take care.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
I think we
Good
can
day, sir.
close
Good
here.
day.
Yes. Bye bye.
Yes, yes. Thank you. Thank you all students, faculty members, as well as the alumni, distinguished alumni who have joined this session. Thank you very much. Thank you. Have a good day.